This episode today is brought to you by Laurel and Ives. Laurel and Ives is a creative marketing agency based out of Omaha. They work with small businesses across the country. They have over a decade of experience in social media, marketing, brand design. Their goal is to make the lives of small business owners just a little bit easier through social media management and courses. On June 30th, Chelsi, who we talked to today, is co-hosting the Small Biz Social Suite. Snap, Post, and Profit, a live-streamed workshop with Omaha local influencer Amy Pugh to help teach small business owners how to sell on social media. For podcast listeners, you can get 10% off of your ticket by using code POD10 today. That's POD 10 at laurelandives.com. Thanks so much for sponsoring. Enjoy the show. Well, let's get into it. Welcome to Hurrdat Media, where there's a will, there's a way.
Thanks.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Good.
I got my coffee.
I know. I was a little late because I had to stop and get scooters. Obviously. But today we have Chelsi on. She owns, founded, and operates Laurel and Ives Creative Agency. So I'm so excited to have you here. I feel like when I was young, I was like I want to work at an agency. Like it was so cool. So I'm excited to hear.
The thing,
it really was.
It was like 13 going on 30. You know, like you
for sure.
Yeah,
for
100%.
Sure. And I'm trying to think. Omaha, I feel like didn't have a ton, but kind of had some.
Yeah, like your typical like media outlet agencies that kind of like Hurrdat that do a little bit of everything.
Right.
They don't just do like one specific niche thing. So
for sure. And your brand is, I love it. Pops of color.
Yes.
Always put together. So obviously you do a great job. So
Thanks.
I'm excited.
Thanks.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you did prior? I know we were talking earlier about some corporate stuff that you used to do, but give me your background. Like, tell me about yourself.
Sure. So it's kind of like a weird full circle on how I got actually here, because I used to be a teacher, and so I taught middle school and high school. I co-taught English literature and special ed.
Oh my gosh.
And I did that for quite a while. And then before that, I worked in retail I worked at Route 21, which they're all closing.
Classic.
And it's kind of like the memories, I spent about 10 years there. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I was at Route 21 for a long time. The Oakview store was my store.
I was just going to ask what location.
I started at Council Bluffs because I'm from Council Bluffs. So I started at Council Bluffs, and then Oakview became my store. I was the store manager there. And
nice.
They kept wanting me to move up. And I was like, everyone I know that moved up in retail never left retail.
Yeah.
And then it came full circle, and I owned a boutique, and I still work with retail and everything, but I just don't work in corporate retail.
Yes.
But so I was a teacher, and
So you went to school to become a teacher?
Yeah, I went to school for English. So English literature was my major. That's what my bachelor's is in English, and then teaching certifications and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I was going to either dual major or minor in special ed, and then I just got the endorsement instead, and I'm glad I ended up not doing the full dual major or minor, because I don't do that anymore, and that just would have been
glad you didn't waste the time.
Yeah, and I still got jobs that I loved doing that, and I loved teaching the component with the kids. I loved working with the kids, especially when I was in high school. Teaching in high schools, I loved my upper levels. My whole goal throughout all of high school was to teach at a college level. I really wanted to teach at a university. I wanted to get my doctorate's degree and do all of that. And a few years, about 5 or 6 years into actually teaching and working in schools, I was like, I can't mentally do this anymore.
Can you tell us stories?
Yeah,
tell us why.
Well, I worked with a lot of behavior disorder students.
Okay. Oh, that was probably so rewarding and so hard.
Yes. And I was at my school, I was one teacher to 40 behavior disorder kids.
Wow.
And so my kids were great, but they were the quote bad kids, they were the kids that were getting detention all the time, that would skip school and do that stuff because they all had some sort of behavior modification that they needed help with. And most public schools just don't do the best job of assisting them where they need it. And even me being one teacher to that many students is just a lot, and granted they were all, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, but they're still kids, at the end of the day. And it was just really mentally draining. I would have kids that, they tell me their mom didn't wake up this morning, or like I had kids that are like, I have to leave school, go pick my sister up, and then I have to go to work. And, you know, like 16-year-olds, like
so sad to see.
Yeah. And so like that, like I'm an empath, and less so now than I was at the time. But like when you're working with those kind of kids, like you just feel for them so hard. And with that, I still had to be a teacher. So like I would have kids confide in me, but then I'd also have to like give them detention if they were being bad, you know, like, or if they were doing something that they shouldn't do. And I'd have to do that kind of stuff. I'd have to grade paperwork, and I'd have to do all this. I did after school programs. So I would have kids until 6 o'clock at night, every single night. I had to kick them out. Essentially, I had to be like, you guys have to go home. Like I have to go home. So you have to go home, you know? And I was just working so much and not making any money. On top of that, that's kind of where my job now comes in, is I was freelancing graphic design. I was freelancing social media work, photography. Like I was a dog sitter and a dog walker and a dog trainer. Like I did literally anything I could just to pay my rent that I shared with a roommate even, you know, and I still couldn't make rent. I didn't have savings. I had like massive amounts of credit card debt. Yeah. And I was just like, it's just not mentally, financially worth it for sure anymore. And that was my main reason to leave.
I just was going to ask if you had a creative outlet during that time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I originally went to school for teaching, I wanted to be an art teacher. And I've always loved art.
My vest.
Yes. I know. When you said that, I was like, I wanted to be an art teacher. Yeah. But yeah, I very much wanted to be an art teacher. And then when I graduated high school and I was going into my freshman year of college is when they started cutting art from public schools. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's not like when I say cut art from public schools, it's not like they're going in there and like no more art class. It's just art teachers are working part-time, and then to be a full-time position would have to teach something else. So I didn't want to teach like health. You know what I mean? Like, and also be an art teacher. So I was like, no, I want a full-time job. So I switched to English, and I've always had a love for like literature and things. And like I said, my goal was to teach at a college level, and like I love British literature and I love Shakespeare and stuff. And so I was like, maybe I'll teach like that. Like I would love to teach Brit Lit. And like I love my Brit Lit teacher in high school and stuff. And I was like, she's so cool. I want to be like her, you know, that kind of thing. Sure. But so I switched to a core subject essentially, and that's where like the English came in. And then my brother was a special ed teacher, and he kind of was like, hey, you're guaranteed a job if you teach special ed. And I was like, okay. So I just did that too. And guaranteed a job. So I at least got a job everywhere that I went. I never got denied a teaching position or anything like that. So
how many years did you do that?
Did I teach?
Yeah.
5-6 years, and then like additional, like if you want to count like student teaching and things like that. But like getting paid for it about 5 years. Yeah. So, and then it was actually in the middle of my 5th year that I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I left during the middle of a school year, which is like unheard of. Like you don't.
That's how much you couldn't do it. You were like, I'm
done. And I got presented with an opportunity that I could not pass up, and that's the job that led me here is that. So I was dog sitter, and one of my clients, she was the manager at a new what's the word I'm looking for? Clinic. And she was like, hey, we need a front desk person, but also somebody to do like social media posts for us and to do like artwork, like graphic design and posters and stuff. And she had gone, I'd done some art shows before, and she was like one of my best clients. And she's like, oh, I'll buy tickets to your art show and I'll go. And so she knew that I was like artistic, and I did digital art and stuff at the time. And I would talk to her. She knew I was making logos for businesses and small businesses and stuff. And she was like, you know, if you're interested or if you know anybody, like, let me know. And I was like, well, I'm interested. Yeah. Like, I was like, I'm interested. She's like, oh, you'd leave teaching? I said, yes.
You're like, absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
And I was like, do it now.
Yes. I was like, what are the details that we have here? And so she gave me and they wanted to pay me 3 times my teaching salary. And then
my gosh.
Benefits that, like, cause I didn't even have health insurance when I was a teacher. I couldn't afford to take it out of my paychecks. So it was like benefits. It was like, the normie hours we were talking about, it was like 9 to 5, you know, but like no weekend. Like I did coaching and stuff, so I was still working on evenings and the weekends, and it was like a way for me to essentially break away from having to do so many side gigs. Like I was able to stop doing photography, which like was just exhausting. I don't claim to be a photographer, you know, it's just something I could do and could make money from. And so
you're the jack of all trades.
Literally, like, it's like I could go be a mechanic right now if I wanted to. I'm not like, but it's like, I don't want to do all that stuff. And I had to do all that stuff.
Right,
That's what made the difference. And so, I said, yeah, like, I'll do that, like 100%. And she's like, okay, well, you need to start like this month. And I was like, okay. So so I quit in the middle of the school year. I didn't come back after Christmas break. And, I started the new year at that job, and the clinic went under. It does not exist anymore. It got bought out by a much bigger company. But in its first like 2 years of infancy, we did so many marketing campaigns and so many marketing tactics and stuff. And it really like professionally put my foot into all these places. I met so many people. I did so many things. I like got on stage and like talked about it. I went to like, it was my first experience of like being at a vendor at like markets and stuff, but it was like kind of health fairs and stuff. But it was like having to really step out of like my comfort zone and talk to people. And like we did Omaha Music Festival, and I had to like get on stage at Omaha Music Festival.
Oh, really?
And it was the Weezer one. So it was like a 2-day with like Weezer. And I was like, I mean, like I did like behind the scenes stuff in like high school on stage, but like I was never like on stage. And so it was just, it really like
challenged you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm always very grateful for that job, despite it not working out. Yeah. But if it wasn't for that, I would not be doing what I'm doing today. So like my like Lois, if you're listening, thanks. She got me there.
Go Lois.
But
Lois, if you're listening.
Yeah. she probably would too. I'd be like, hey, you want to listen to this? And she'd be like, yeah, cool, let's do it.
What does she do now?
I don't know. She probably, I'm still friends with her on Facebook, but I don't like, she doesn't post or anything. Yeah. She was, probably nearing retirement age when I met her. And then her husband's a doctor too. And so she was a nurse and her husband's a doctor. And so she's probably just living life. Honestly.
They're probably
like
in Italy or something.
Yeah. Like just living her best life. So, which I hope she is, but yeah, so that kind of opened the floodgates to me being like, oh, I'm good at this. I like doing this. How can I progress this further? Right. And part of that position, they paid for me to go back to school. And so I started taking some business classes. And then I eventually got my master's degree in strategic marketing. Oh,
wow. I didn't know that. That's fun.
Yeah. I don't utilize it. I learned nothing in my master's program. I had already been working in marketing for a few years at that point, and
you learn on the job. You're not learning 100%.
Yes.
Is college going to like go extinct? I swear.
I sure hope so.
I know.
I know when like I have kids, I'm not going to push it. If they want to do something that they want, that they need to go to college. If they want to be a teacher, a nurse,
yes, exactly.
But like if I know that it's something that like we can learn more from experience, let's go get the experience. 100%. Let's go do it. I sit and look at my $88,000
I know
debt.
It's like actually a scam, I think.
Oh, like, I talk about that all the time. 100% college is a scam. Yep. Unless you need it for your profession. You need it to be a teacher. You need it to be a doctor or a nurse or whatever. And I get that. But like, I don't need it.
Same.
I just saw I just saw some university, I can't remember what it was, but they have a bachelor of arts in social media. And I was like, that's stupid. Stupid. Go spend your money on that if you want, but you are not going to learn a thing. And it moves so fast that I don't know how you could have a full
curriculum.
Yeah. I don't understand how it could work. I'm like, well, that's a scam at least.
And who's teaching that? An 80-year-old guy? Like,
yes, exactly. Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. I know, tangents, right? Like,
so then you opened in 2017.
I officially like made a business in 2017 because I was just like freelancing. Like people would write me checks, give me cash, like, you know, under the table type stuff. And then I was like,
government, if you're listening, no, you're not.
I mean, that was a long time ago. That Chelsi is a different Chelsi. So same name, different person. But I was like, oh, I should make this a real thing, you know, like I should do something. And so I started my business then, and I rebranded to Laurel and Ives in the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020. So right before like COVID hit, I rebranded.
And tell me about the name.
Laurel and Ives. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Oh,
there's no,
because your retail brand was Laurelai Goods.
Yeah. So Laurelai was pulled from Laurel and Ives.
So it's literally nothing.
I kept seeing the name Laurel everywhere, and I was like, well, I don't want to name my kid this, but I'm supposed to obviously do something with this name.
I love it.
And so I just went, and at the time, like you probably remember, my brand was very boho when I rebranded. Okay. And like I had lots of like oranges and like olive greens in my brand and stuff. And that was very reminiscent of the personality I had at the time, in the sense of like, that was reminiscent of the clients that I wanted to pull in.
To attract,
so before I rebranded, my business name was Dream Site Visuals, and I worked with skateboard brands. I worked with t-shirt companies, musicians, like artists, bands, things like that. And it was a very dark, moody aesthetic. Like I have like two halves of my personality. Yeah. One is that dark, moody aesthetic that has like a Beetlejuice tattoo on my back. Yeah. And then the other half is the presenting, like the one that you see. So like the one half is like, I say this is like my horror buff side. I've always been into horror and like films and that kind of stuff, and like dark art and that kind of stuff. And then there's the side that I'm like, this is the side that people, it's like, this is the side that I want to present. This is the feminine, this is the educated, the fun, that side. And when I rebranded, that was like the rise of like Pampas Grass, and all that stuff. And I was like, so if I want to work with boutiques and with estheticians and like these more boutique style brands, I need to match the brands that I want to create and that I want to work with. And so I switched to Laurel and Ives. And then Ives is just, I thought about doing the word ivy because I was big into like plants and stuff at the time. But like I knew like 10 other businesses that had the name Ivy in them. Yeah. So I just did Ives instead.
Make it a little different.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then
how long did it take you to rebrand? Like, were you just working on the back end on that stuff? And then
I would say my full rebrand probably took about like 6 months. Okay. And that was just because I was so indecisive of like, I kind of got into my own head of being like, am I narrowing myself down so far, so like technically early in my business, that I'm not going to see growth from it? Because in my head, I was immediately like, I'm going to market to boutiques. I'm going to market to skincare professionals and beauty professionals. Like that's who I want to work with. So that's what I'm going to market myself as. And then I was like, can these businesses afford my services? And like, even at the time, like where my services were early entry pricing, I still was considering like, okay, I know how much I pay my lash tech. How many clients does she have? How much is she roughly probably making yearly? Can she make overhead? And then if she can make overhead, can she afford me?
Right.
So like, that's kind of where my mind was at. In like, okay, so am I limiting myself by just sticking to these types of businesses and then ex-naying the like car detailer that wants to work with me or something? Yeah. And I still...
There's riches and niches.
Yes, I still to this day question that all the time. Like, should I create like an alternate brand where I can work with these other types of businesses and have a different name associated with them? And
I see that. Yeah. I also, but like you're talking about, and we talked about this a little bit earlier about like two personalities of I'm like this, but I'm also like this. Like I'm cheap as fuck. And then sometimes I'm so luxuriously spending like two personalities.
Same.
Maybe that'd be cool.
I mean,
I've
genuinely thought about it. I get like inquiries from like, auto shops and things like that are just like, somebody referred you like one of my clients referred you, and like their client's a esthetician, but that's their like go-to mechanic or whatever. Right. And so they reach out to me, and then it's always a really hard email to send and being like, you're not in my service industry, and so usually that's we're not taking new clients at the time email instead of you're not in my industry email, because I don't want to like completely dismiss these types of brands, and because there might be a day where I do create like a contractor based brand where I'm working with different types of businesses that are a different type of business or something. It's not for me right now. And there was a point where I was like, maybe I'll do like strictly real estate or something like that. And then I worked with a couple of real estate clients, and I'm like, I don't like doing real estate, And it's just like,
I hate this.
Yeah. And it's just learning what I think I'm good at and what I like the most. Yeah.
So you've been working with boutique brands since 2019, 2020-ish.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
How is getting clients? Like, are you feeling like, obviously it's referral, word of mouth a ton?
Well, 100%. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're full time and?
Yeah. I am so full time that I'm like, underwater.
Yeah.
But like not in like a bad way.
You're calm, cool, and collected. Like I feel like when I'm underwater, I'm like, I can't.
I mean, like you don't see me crying at night, but but like I have employees and like they're great. I have a very hard time of like letting go of certain projects and stuff.
So
and
you
like
have
delegating.
2 employees?
Yeah, and they're subcontractors under me. Okay. I'm considered a subcontractor, so they're not like W-2 employees. Okay. So, but yeah, I have 2 assistants essentially, and they're both creative marketing assistants, and they help me with social media work. So
that's probably hard just with the flow. I imagine there's like an influx in business and then slow. So I feel like having an employee would like W-2 would stress me out personally.
Yes, and like my main thing and what I told them when I hired them on is, if I drop in clients, that doesn't mean that your pay is going to drop. That means I'm going to work harder to get more clients to fill, you know? So that might mean sometimes like, of course, like during going into like later holiday season, I see a drop in clients because people are like, I have to drop something, and I'm considered a luxury service, you know? So people, I'm one of the first to go. Yeah, like me and their lash extensions.
I think of that for myself, like January and February. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so broke because I'm not doing events.
Yes,
no one's
exactly.
I'm freaking out. Yep. And then it's like the season comes and you're like, okay, I can afford this.
Yes, exactly. And like what's funny is actually like January is usually like my busiest month because everyone's like new year, new goals. Like let's get in there. Like January. So the slow months for retail, the J months, are like the slow months for you guys, and then they are the busy months for me.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Yep. But like if I get like a ton of inquiries in January, I mean, I can only take on so many clients at one time, and I try to space them out a month apart to where I'm not starting a new social media client like multiples in 1 month. I think if I had more staff, I could do that. Yeah. I could do more than one, but right now I'm just trying to keep it at 1 new client a month.
Yeah. I also see on social you post that like our next opening is in 3 months or whatnot, which I think is so cool. I think everyone is always to be like, oh, we can do it. We can do it all. We can do it. We can do it. And then at some point you're like, but can you? And
I used to be that person.
Yes. Like, okay. So tell me, can you give me an overview of all your services? I know you do a lot of like brand personality and social media. Just give me a rundown.
Yeah. And I mean, I was that person that I started doing it all, you know, I did everything. And just like as getting into it, I was like, okay, I really need to narrow down my services. And right now we only do social media management services, brand design services, and then courses and workshops. And the courses and workshops are strictly me. Like I don't have my assistants help me with that. That's just me using my knowledge and my education to inform other people. And then my brand design typically is just me. I do have it in my like employees thing. Like if I need help with branding, they can help me with that. And they're both very talented and they could do that. But people come to me for my brand style. And that's another like just stupid Capricorn thing is I just can't delegate, you know, and it's just really hard to let that go. But then social media services are like our bread and butter. Like that's 100% like where my full-time status comes into play is with social media management.
So how many of those clients do you have like currently?
10 social media clients.
And then is it month to month for people or
for them? Yeah, for them. So like you have to, part of the contract is 3 months minimum. And then after 3 months, you go to month. I just need 30-day notice if you want to. And services. So
and are you creating the content as well, or are you strictly posting? How
everything?
It just depends.
I have multiple packages, but the main thing with all of the packages is we are creating the graphics, the reels, like everything that visually goes out, and then all of the copy. So all of the captions and everything, we are also doing that. So that includes keywords, hashtags. And then something that I always pride myself on is my continuous like education. Like at the end of the day, I'm a teacher at heart, you know, I always have been and I always will be. And I'm a firm believer in continuing education, even if it's not formal education.
Yes.
So I do daily research for myself, for my clients. Thankfully, most of my clients are in the same industry. Right now, I have a majority of like beauty professionals, estheticians and stuff. And so I don't have to do like as much different research for them, you know, but like I do have a couple of alternate, like other boutique style businesses, like not necessarily clothing boutiques, but just like boutique services and stuff. And so like keeping up on like what are those trends for those specific businesses. And that's where it's almost more of that preliminary and that base work that takes up my full-time schedule than it does the actual content creation component of it. I think if I wasn't doing so much of that back end research, I would probably have a much more free schedule to take on more clients. But I really pride myself in wanting to put out like correct information and making sure that everything that's going out is informative, it's educational, but it's also like fun, shareable content that not only the client likes, but that other people like. Like I love seeing other people share my clients' posts that I make. Like I love that more so than them even telling me they like it. Like I love like if I like saw you share something that like Beautiful Soul posted, you know, and I'm like, oh, she liked what we did, you know, like that. That's something that I enjoy. So.
Yeah, that research is so important, and it is always changing
constantly.
I also want to say so if you guys want to get on her email list, I'm obsessed with it because it's beneficial for me. Like you will send out, oh shit, is your Instagram might be glitching.
Yes.
Oh, it's back up. So, and I think for you, that's so smart. Just as me as an end user, like you're always in the back of my mind. I'm like, I want to work with her. I want to work with her. And it's like, we haven't done anything formally together yet, but like, I know I'm going to be working with you at some point. I just, in my head, that's smart.
That, I mean, with that being said, like an email list is so important. And I think like, you know this too, but like, social media can disappear at any time. And as terrifying as that is to think of, like, for my job, you know, I want to make sure that I have backup plans for that kind of stuff. Whether it's like my page disappears or just like the whole thing crashes. And the future for social media could be so odd to think about and like how it's actually going to progress and things. But so having that email list just really ensures that I have, you know, X amount of people that I can reach if something goes awry. Absolutely. But I have had from those emails, I've had people be like, you know what, I love these emails. Can I get an inquiry for services?
So like, true. Like it's so beneficial to the end user for sure. I love that. So what is your favorite, like you take on one new client a month for social media or brand as well?
So typically one client a month for both social media and brand design. So two new clients each month. Oh, okay. But with brand design, you know, that's usually wrapped up within a month. Yeah. And sometimes it goes a little bit longer. Sometimes it goes a little bit less. And so if I know like, okay, this project's wrapping up sooner, I'll open up a spot in the middle of the month. And for people who have worked with me, they know that I'm pretty willing to move up start dates and get the ball rolling a little bit sooner than anticipated, at least for brand design. As long as I'm able to, I will, because I know that like you're already waiting 3 months to the start date, and then you have to wait another month or two to get the whole package, depending on like if we need revisions or back and forth, which package you choose, you know, and so I like to.
I think that's so smart. Like looking at it from an outsider, like I'm like, it just shows, one, you're busy, two, you're wanted. Yeah. Also, you are like taking vacations and you're like, I'm not going to be available on email. Like nobody fucking does that these days. And I appreciate that so much and respect it so much. Yeah. Katie Lakin and I from Little Mango talk about that all the time. We're like, God, she's so good. Like,
oh yeah. When I go on vacation, I'm on vacation. I know. And I mean, that being said, for the purpose of tax reasons, I do work while I'm on vacation. Because I like to write off my vacations. Yeah. But
smart girl. I
go to vendor fairs and like vendor markets, and I hand out business cards and I talk to other business owners, and that's why I can work with people from all over.
Yeah. Are most of your clients local?
Yep. Most of them are local. Yeah.
What other clients?
So a lot of my brand clients are typically like from all over. Oh, yeah. Like my brand design.
Is it just Instagram that they find you?
Usually I don't market myself on Facebook. My audience is not on Facebook. And if they are, they're in Facebook groups. And so I'm marketing directly to them, but I'm not if you go to my business Facebook page, it literally says go to my Instagram. And then like I don't do TikTok for my business.
I was going to ask if you like TikTok.
I love TikTok, but it is currently my only social media escape from work. Because
I understand that.
Yes. And so if I just want to aimlessly scroll and look at videos of dogs and stuff, like the only place I can do that is on TikTok. Because if I scroll on like Instagram, it's work.
Right. And then you're like, oh, I could use that for work. Oh, this is good for work. And then you never turn it off.
Yep.
I get that.
And then I have a business Instagram logged in on my work phone for if I need to do research. So then I can separate. So that way my For You page doesn't get flooded with business stuff on my personal phone.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what is your favorite aspect of one, bringing on a new client? And then I also want to know your favorite aspect of brand design, brand personality, and social media management.
So my favorite aspect of bringing on new clients is literally the excitement. Like I love seeing them so excited that like shit's finally rolling with their business. Like that's a huge thing for me. And like I strive to I know how hard it is to be a small business owner. I've been a small business owner. My mom is a small business owner. And like, so I've grown up in that atmosphere.
What does she own?
A cleaning company. So yeah, that was like my part-time job when I was a teenager.
Oh, really?
So my summer jobs was I'd go and like clean rich people's houses with her and stuff. So in Texas Roadhouse, she cleans all the Texas Roadhouses. No. And so yeah, we would go
peanuts on the ground.
So like they don't do that anymore, but they were really good about like the servers and stuff sweeping up. But I remember like going to Texas Roadhouse like in the mornings to help her clean, and she'd be like, make sure you get all the way under the table.
Oh my gosh. Also, Texas Roadhouse is a sleigh.
Oh,
it is my favorite. So good.
I have never had a bad steak from Texas Roadhouse.
And they're like $12.99.
Yes, like the steakhouses here in Omaha are supposed to be like known for its steaks. I've had some terrible steaks from like expensive steakhouses. Never a bad fillet.
Literally, it's so good. And like the rolls, like, and it's cheap for bringing my kids too, because I'm like, oh, they eat the rolls.
Yep.
And then I'm having
kids eat freeze on some days, and like
I love Texas Roadhouse. Same. Okay, anyway.
So yeah, I love bringing on new clients. I love the excitement. And then I love when they get even more excited when they either start, like whenever they get the logo drafts or whenever they see that first post go out, you know, that kind of stuff. And just like getting that feedback from them. I love helping people. And
clearly, you're a teacher.
Yes, I love helping people. And I've never been the type of person that's like, oh, I want to be a nurse because I love to help people. I'm like, no. There's other ways that I can help. And so that just gets like, that's what gets me going, gets me excited, and like wants me to like continue to do this. And then like as far as like brand personality goes, I am really good at pulling a brand voice out of the business owner's personality. And so
how do you keep track of each business, dude? I'd have to take so many notes.
And then there's also like, I mean, a lot of my clients are longtime clients. I've had them for quite a while. And so like,
you know them personally at this point. Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, I become friends with a lot of my clients. And of course there's some that are just like, we don't talk, you know, like they just hire me and that's kind of it.
Do you like what I'm doing?
Yes, exactly. Like
sometimes no talk is better than like what you're doing.
Honestly, like the less feedback I get, the better. Yeah. You know what I mean? But because then I can just move on
in your head too.
Yeah. Oh. Yes. That's like, I spent like 3 hours making one graphic the other day before I was like, you need to move on. Like, it's fine. Nobody's going to care about the placement of this or whatever. But, I love pulling out a brand voice and creating a brand voice for people. And I think that's such a huge part of an actual brand personality. And to me, there is a difference between a brand identity and a brand personality. And brand identity is like what you know the brand for. So like, I think like Target has a pretty solid brand identity. You know that it's the place where you can go to chill out, to do a little like self-care shopping and stuff, but you're also going to be able to get like your laundry detergent and the stuff that you need. And they know that. They know that that's how they're getting their people in. And they also know that they're a luxury brand. Like if we think in comparison to like Walmart, it's a major competitor. And so they market to that.
I totally agree with that. Yeah. Also, Walmart
clothes are like
so good.
I'm
however, it's not the experience that you just described though at Target. Like
you dress a certain way to go to Target, and you can wear your pajamas to go to Walmart. Yeah. And like they know that. Those businesses know that. And Target isn't like expensive brands. I mean, they have like Levi now and stuff, but like you're getting a pair of Levi shorts for $35 a pair compared to getting Levi shorts from the source for $55,
right.
you know, so you're still saving money by going to these places, and they have rollback deals and all this stuff.
And their return policy is fire.
Yes. And
like
so like
a year.
yes. And you know, and everything's on the app. Like like Target is really great with their brand identity. Whereas like small businesses need that brand personality. They need to show that there is a person behind the business, and we don't care about the people behind Target. Like we know like the cashiers, or even then we're doing self-checkout, you know? So it's like, we don't care about the people behind Target. We care about the people behind, you know, making our jewelry and scouting our clothes and touching our face and putting our lashes on, you know, that kind of stuff. And so brand personality to me is so much of the person behind the business. And there's some businesses that I work with that are considered small businesses, but they're like larger small businesses, to where brand personality is very important, but it's not as important as it is for the solo entrepreneurs. And I have more solos than I do like bigger small businesses, you know, and I prefer that. I love working with solo entrepreneurs because they're usually the most reciprocated of like getting that information, and they want to learn with me. They want to help, and they want to be active in, you know, letting me go and get pictures or videos and stuff, and not just like me using whatever I can or scouting their old Facebook
they're
posts.
As invested as
yes, and they're usually the ones that have more to lose and more to give. You know what I mean? They're taking probably a good chunk of their salary out to pay for me, and so they want to make sure that they're getting their money's worth. And I appreciate that more so than the people are just like, I don't have anything to hand to you. And like, not that I don't appreciate those clients, but like, I appreciate any client that wants to pay me, right? Or that any client that has said, I love your work, how can we work together? You know, that kind of stuff. But it's the ones that want to put in that effort with me that makes it more fulfilling for me, and I think for them too.
Yeah. So what has been, like, do you have a goal for a client that you're like dying to work with?
You know, I'd love to work with a coffee shop. I've never worked with a coffee shop, and that's something, I mean, I have some
ideas then.
I mean, I have ideas too. And I've like had inquiries with different coffee shops and stuff before, and either I just like wasn't in their budget, or at the time, like my time frame didn't work with their time frame, you know, and stuff. And I have like limits to sizes as well. Like I wouldn't work with scooters, and not because of any like brand affiliation or anything. That would be a
full-time ass job.
It's just too big. Yeah, it's too big for me. But like
Zen?
Oh, I'd love to work with Zen.
Well, let's text Abby.
Yeah, Abby and I have had some conversations. So, or at least
she's the
somewhat.
best.
Yeah, I love Zen, and like I love a lot of coffee shops, a lot of our local coffee shops. I just really resonate with Zen and like with Abby and stuff. But like I would love to work with a coffee shop, and even like a rebrand, even if it's not social media management. Like I would love to like do a coffee shop logo or something.
What's some logos that we see around Omaha that you've done? Like, can you say that?
Yeah. Let me think. I have done a lot of logos in my time.
Well, on your website, there. I like how
that's
you
not all of
formatted
them. That's just like some of them. So I did. I mean, she just recently did a new logo design, but I did like the Wallflower Omaha. I did her original logo, and she also kind of did what I did, where she was
gonna say hers was florally, right?
Yeah, she was very boho, and she's kind of shifted gears to be more vibrant and bold colors. So she had a rebrand. But like her old logo, I did that. People are usually familiar with her. I've done so many estheticians. There's Jill Gosselin Aesthetics. Oh gosh,
Gosselin, like John Gosselin.
Yeah, but
but not related,
not associated. Gosh, I'm just trying to think. There's a lot.
Well, Beautiful Soul. Tell me about that.
So, Beautiful Soul, it's owned by Jordan Felice. She's one of my social media clients as well, along with Beautiful Soul, two separate businesses. But
and you guys met and you worked together. For some reason, you do a lot for Beautiful Soul. So I was wondering.
Beautiful Soul is my main full time. Like that one's been my longest full time, where I do a lot. I do event marketing. I do all kinds of marketing stuff for them that I don't do for other clients. They are very much like my baby, and and I have a very close connection with Jordan. Like Jordan and I are very good friends.
Well, you do great work with that.
Thank you.
I've attended the events. They're
amazing.
I know.
We love having Hello Ruby at our events. But yeah, I was one of Jordan's clients. She did my lashes and got me on like a good skincare regimen. Well, girl I went to high school with recommended me to her because I was struggling with my eczema, and she was like, try Jordan, like you'll love it. And then like in the process of me like reaching out to her with like a virtual consultation for skincare, I was like, I see you do lashes too, like and like it was one of those like you don't realize how bad yours are until you see good work. you know?
Yeah.
And mine were so bad that she was like, I could get you in tomorrow if you want to just like come in after hours. And I was like, oh, they're that bad, aren't they? So
sweetie.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we started with that. So I was seeing her every 2 weeks, you know, like to get my lashes done. And then she opened Beautiful Soul in 2019, and 2019. She opened Beautiful Soul there. And so then I went over there, and Amy Pugh had a boutique in there. So she had her old boutique, Shop Three Dolls was
$3. I was going to say
$3 boutique.
3 daughters or something.
Yep. And so I'd shop in there. That's how I met Amy. And then that was when it was just the one level, and there
on
was
168th in
Cornhusker. 168th and Cornhusker. Yep. And now it's 2 levels. It has 16 plus small business owners in it, all women-owned businesses right now, mostly aesthetics and massage, but we have like a therapist in there. We have Reiki practitioners, a nail artist, makeup artists. We have a tax gal in there that works specifically with small business owners.
What?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Cat Tax Bookkeeping.
Oh, yeah. She's a local collective member.
Yes,
I was
Caitlin
just
Malone.
going to ask about her. Okay.
But yeah, so Jordan knew that I did social media and stuff, and at one point she reached out to me and was like, hey, would you be interested in doing social media for Beautiful Soul? Like, I'd love to take it off my plate. And immediately, yes, you know, like, and so we started working together. At the time, I also had a boutique in there as well. That's when I was making jewelry, and I was making my clay earrings and stuff.
I don't even remember that part.
That was very early. That was in like 2020 before like it blew up because of COVID, you know, like, and I opened my storefront in 2021, and I just needed a non-digital creative outlet. Like I needed, and so I just started making jewelry, and I posted it to like my stories, and like my friends were like, you should sell these. I said, that. Okay.
Like, I will do that. Yes. Let me change
Let me monetize everything. And that, I mean, honestly, I stopped making jewelry because people were starting to know me for jewelry and not for what I did for marketing. And I was like, oh, I got to stop this before it gets
like,
too far. And then also like, once you start monetizing something, it's not fun anymore. And so I got burnt out on doing it. It's like
a side thing for a reason.
Yes, I was doing it because I wanted big funky earrings, you know, and now, so I know so many earring makers that I don't need to make them anymore.
I know good ones too.
I can go to my girls, and I know I can get the big funky earrings that I want, you know, but so yeah, I took off with Beautiful Soul. And then, I mean, honestly, my business would not be where it was at if it wasn't for Beautiful Soul and for Jordan. Jordan has referred me to so many people. That's so sweet.
I think I have met her once, but I don't know her well. I need to get to know her.
You would know her like if you like saw her, because she's at all the events and stuff. So you've met her and stuff. She's very much like hands off. She's like, do what you're good at. I'm going to do what I'm good at. And that's what I love. So
do they have one location or 2?
One location right now, but we just announced that we're opening a second location. Awesome. I say we, like I'm like,
yeah, I know. That's why, maybe that's why I thought you were like part owner.
No, I'm not part owner at all. I'm like marketing manager, essentially, unofficial marketing manager. Yeah. But yes, they are opening a second location on 168th and Harrison. So it was where Moxie Salon was, if you're familiar. You know where Williamsburg Pizza is?
No, like I'm such a northie.
Okay, yeah, it's south. So it's kind of middle.
Yeah.
Harrison's like kind of in between, you know, but yeah, it's
I grew up on Q Street, but 96th and Q.
Oh, so yeah, a little bit more.
Where'd you go to high school?
Lou Central, over in Council Bluffs.
Oh, yeah. And then where did you go to college?
I went to Iowa Western. I went to University of Northern Iowa and to Bellevue University. And Buena Vista University. That's where my bachelor's program's at, is Buena Vista. So
it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. But so second location coming later this year, actually. Awesome. And it's going to be a salon suites instead of a spa suites. So it's going to be hair, where we don't have hair at Beautiful Soul Spa. And so hair, or like,
they are kind of close together. So that makes
yes, it's going to be nice. And there's going to be a head spa, a Japanese head spa, the first in Omaha.
Shut up.
Yes. So everyone's
on that side of TikTok, and I'm like, why doesn't this exist? I will be the first customer. You send everything to me.
All right, you got it. Yeah, everyone's so excited for that. I'm so excited for that. Yep.
I'm so excited.
So Japanese head spa and a blow dry bar. So it's going to be great.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Very excited. Follow Beautiful Soul. I mean, and me too, right? But follow Beautiful Soul for updates on that.
Haven't even mentioned yours yet. But
yeah, I know.
Get the client out there.
Yep.
So do you see, like, when you are scrolling on your personal account, do you see brands that you're like, oof, shouldn't have done that? Like, what's your biggest oof?
Like for social media?
Yeah.
Like my biggest
or just like
in general?
Brand, social media. Is there a brand that you can think of that like you would overhaul and do something completely different?
I mean, there's a lot of things that I see social media wise and I'm like, oh honey, why are we doing this? You know, but like, it's not my place to be that person to like message them and be like, hey, you did this wrong. No. Also, I'm not going to give out that free
not
stuff.
Small business.
So corporate wise, yes, there's definitely businesses and I'm like, there's so much potential here and they're losing it. Like I think about like how well like Wendy's did on Twitter a while ago. Like, do you remember a few years ago?
Yeah.
And like, I think about that kind of stuff where that was showing brand personality for a giant business. And I just know that there's so many ways to like leverage that kind of attitude and personality for businesses locally, like not like a local big business, like I think like Menards could like I would love to.
Do they do anything?
Menards. I don't know, I don't see Menards anywhere, but I shop Menards like once a week.
I love Menards actually.
I get like groceries from Menard. Like I will go there and I went there yesterday, you know, and I didn't need to go shopping. I didn't need anything from Menards, but I was in the area. I was like, oh, I'm gonna stop at Menards. Like, and
you might be the only one.
Well, I don't know. I used to like hang out at Menards when I was a teenager, but that's because a boy I liked worked there.
Oh,
so I would like, so maybe that's where my like
just stopping at Menards.
Getting
it
like,
is good, and they have like cheap, like even kids' toys. Like
yes.
Walking by, I'm like, dude, what? That's $2.
Yes,
like,
like like their holiday stuff, like their like Halloween and Christmas stuff. I love that. But I think Menards could use a rebrand. Although I did see, I think it was at Midwest Fest, somebody had a Nebraska hat, but it was the Menards logo, but it said Nebraska. I don't remember who it was, but I was like,
was it like a patch?
Yeah, I think it was like a patch.
That's cute.
Yeah. But like, I think Menards could stand a rebrand, and I think that also, it's just everything when you walk into a Menards is so dated. Like they actually just opened the second biggest location over in Council Bluffs like ever, and like Menards is like centralized. I don't think it's just like Midwest, because I think it's from Indiana.
Where did it start?
I think in Indiana.
Oh, okay.
I don't know though. Maybe Minnesota or something.
Somewhere over there.
But I know it's not like reaching coast or anything. But like the second biggest store just opened in Council Bluffs, and it looks like the old store, just cleaner. And so I'm like, why wouldn't we
get a little refresh here?
Yeah, like why wouldn't we make it better? I think that they could really benefit from IKEA marketing strategies. And like you see like Walmart's doing that, where they're like putting what these items could look like in your home on display. And like I know that they'll put like patio sets and like playgrounds and things like that up, but like when you're a store that sells so many different things, why not leverage that type of marketing and showing people how they can use it?
For sure, how it all can work together.
Yeah, how they can benefit from it, all that kind of stuff. And so like I think Menards would be good for that. Or any like
we're gonna get you a Menards rebrand. Let's do it.
You know what? Let's do that. Let's work towards Menards. Like awesome. I will make my small business exception for Menards. So
hey, maybe that can be your new
my like sub my sub business.
Your sub brand.
Yeah,
I love
for it.
What trends are you liking on Instagram right now? And TikTok for your personal?
Yeah. So on Instagram right now, the trends that I'm loving are the non-trend trends. So like where people take a trend to make it their own, opposed to following the same thing. So it used to be very much that you would like a trend would happen, whether that was like an audio or like a lip sync or a dance or something. And you'd scroll and you'd see like 50 of the same exact thing. And like that would burn me out as like a user, like just like watching it. I'm like, I don't care anymore. And so like there's that whole thing where when Texas Hold'em came out by Beyonce, and people are like, if I hear that one more time, and I get it, I understand. And like me, I'm over here like, I love that song, but I get it, you know? And it's because people were doing the same thing over and over again. But Instagram somewhat recently said like we are favoring originality, like we are wanting to push more original content. So yes, use the trending audio to get more reach, but turn it into something of your own. Like right now there's the like can you match my freak trend going, and like I love that. I am like the person, I don't jump on trends for my business, and that's just because I don't have time. But I don't get to them in time because I'm doing it for everyone else, you know. But so like you do that. It's the same concept of like somebody, whatever B-roll footage that they're putting the text over, and it says, can you match my freak? And it's something so innocent and like naive and like beige flaggy, you know what I mean? And so like I like that because it's following a trend, but I'm learning a little bit about every business owner that's putting it out there.
It's not the exact same thing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then like on TikTok, I feel like the trends that I see on TikTok on my personal stuff are like not what other people are seeing, because I'm on like horror talk and then also like dog talk.
Horror, guys.
Horror. Yeah, so I'll get like 10 of the creepiest photos ever caught, you know, or like
there's a ghost in the corner.
Yes, exactly.
Axes.
Yes, and it's like all blurry and stuff, and it's like, oh, or somebody just like bumped into the camera as they were taking, but you know, like that kind of stuff.
Like the haunted ones, like doors closing and stuff.
I also have stumbled upon like TLC talk. And
like the network?
Yeah. So like I just saw this thing where this girl had like left a sock on her foot for 2 years, and
that's vile.
It was, but I watched all 10 parts of that.
What did it look like underneath?
I mean, like it looked like a tree stump. It was like
wet.
She had a club foot and it was causing her pain, so she wore a sock and a boot. And she didn't take the boot off for 10 years.
Oh my
and
God.
so like when the doctor took it off.
10 years?
2 years. Sorry. 2 years.
2 years is crazy.
I would say 10 years, you probably wouldn't have a foot anymore.
Yeah, like that's like.
But like the doctor took it off, and she was like, the smell, they had candles like in the doctor's office because the smell was so bad and everything. Ew. Yeah. And
did she shower?
She would shower, just she left the boot on. So imagine like when you like,
why do I feel like I dreamt about this?
You probably saw it.
I had to have seen it and I wasn't paying attention.
I would see comments that are like, so we're all on this side of TikTok right now, you know, but yeah. So like that, I'm on like that. And then I try to like, dogs make me happy. And so I try to stay on dog TikTok because like social media can get bleak. And I'm like, no, I just want to see a dog like hopping through the snow or something, you know? So
there was I had a pop-up yesterday at an aesthetic Midwest dermatology.
Yeah.
And one of the customers brought their dog, and their dog's name was Ruby. I'm like, oh, rip Ruby in the Ruby truck.
No. Wasn't your truck named after your
my
dog? That's what I thought. Yeah.
So cute. And she had to go and die. So
of course, right? Why do they have to do that? My dog, one of my oldest dogs, just got like diagnosed with like a heart condition, and so I'm like, all right, let's go on your first vacation. So we're going to South Dakota and like taking them camping. I'm like, let's live the rest of your life.
You need to see the presidents on the rocks.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Actually, they can't go to Mount Rushmore. They're not allowed. Not past the parking lot. So they're going to stay. We got an air-conditioned cabin for them because we're bougie. I mean, it's just
somebody else did that. Like rent is it a cabin or like
it's a cabin. It's not like a campsite.
Oh, that's
and it's
fun.
like, it's not like quite glamping, but it's air-conditioned and has electricity.
Yeah, that's the only way I would do it.
We have to like walk to go to the bathroom, you know? So it's like it's not like everything's in there, but better than tent camping, which I'm all for. My boyfriend, Los Angeles guy, is like, I don't want a tent.
Oh yeah.
So I'm
your boyfriend's from LA?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How long has he been here?
Like 10, 12 years. Like a long time. Yeah.
I had a note on my little card here. Waterboy. Do you follow them?
Oh, I think
it's like,
so.
It's like Liquid IV, but better.
Yeah.
Because I think they do everything so well. They did a giveaway for a influencer trip, but they didn't do it like normally. They had like 5 different ways you could win.
Oh,
and one was like, just send us a video. The other one was like lottery system.
Yeah, so it's like not like the typical like follow share.
I'm like, that is so smart.
Also, like if you're sending them a video, that's like creating that user generated content.
I know.
And
like I'm like, you guys are smart.
Yeah, that's super smart. I think
Jenna gal on TikTok, Jenna something works there. Her boyfriend co-founded it or something. So I think I saw that and I was like, I love that.
Yep. I think I actually got a sponsored ad on my Instagram feed for them. I'm pretty sure. So.
I'm not hungover much these days anymore. Kind of sometimes.
I'm just this is my normal beverage, so I keep Liquid IV.
And it is what? Vanilla?
Of iced vanilla
latte.
Yep.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. It's my go-to.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to chat about? You're not a Bravo girly, but you're a horror film girly. Anything?
I love horror films.
Any murder mysteries that you want to chat about?
I mean, I've recently been listening to this podcast called That Was Pretty Scary, and it's hosted by Freddie Prinze Jr.
Wait,
Fred from
what?
Yes, I love
Hottie McFreddy.
Oh my god, I love Freddie Prinze Jr.
I
have the biggest crush on him.
I know.
I still have like him as an adult human.
Is he cute still?
Oh, I think so. He's kind of got that like scruffy dad look. He's a dad. He's married to Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy.
Wait, they are?
Yeah, they've been married forever. And they have kids
What movie
together.
is he from?
Scooby-Doo. Him and Sarah Michelle were Fred and Daphne.
Okay, I need to look this up.
Yeah,
and then stalk him.
Yeah, and so I've been listening to that, and it's him and like one of his friends who works on the production side of movies, and they go through all these different horror movies every week, and they talk about it. They give you the plot, and then they give you their insight from being part like in that industry.
Yeah.
And so like Freddie Prinze gives his like his actor insight, and then John Lee Brody is his co-host. He does like stunt work, he does like the behind the scenes kind of stuff, and so he gives his insight. So you learn about like the different filming techniques and different like effects, makeups and stuff that they did for these different horror films. And they do, I mean, like they just did The Craft, which is like, I don't know if you've ever seen that. Mm-mm. But it's from, I don't even know what year it came out. I want to say the early 90s, but it was just like a teen witch movie that like kind of everything goes awry. But then like they did, you know, like they did Halloween, and then they did trying to think of like what else they've done recently. Like they what's the one where you can't talk? A Quiet Place. Like
with John Krasinski.
Yeah. So like they do like a big like eclectic mix, and so every time that they do a new episode every week, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go watch that. You know, like even if it's one that I've already watched, I'm like, oh, that like makes me want to like go back and watch it.
So you love Halloween, I'm guessing.
Oh, it's my favorite holiday.
I wanted to ask you. Sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
Anything else?
Don't get me started on Halloween. It's fine. Cut me off. Oh, I love Halloween. We do a Halloween trip every year. So I'm a big vacation girly. I'm like, I want to take my vacations as much as possible. So we go and do something for Halloween every year. My boyfriend's the same way. Halloween's our favorite holiday. Halloween and 4th of July are our favorite holidays. And then we go somewhere. So like last year we went to Disneyland. The year before that we went to New Orleans.
Fun.
This year I think we're going to go back to New England area. We went there in 2020, and so we didn't quite get the experience that we wanted, but like Portland, Maine was like my all-time favorite vacation spot that I've been on since I was like 14. And I'm like, I think we want to go back there because we've had nothing but like warm, humid Halloweens for the past like 3 years, because we did like Florida, New Orleans, and California. And so I'm like, let's go somewhere fall this year. That. So this year's Halloween trip.
Are you into like the scary stuff?
All of it. I love all of it. But I love the nostalgia, like classic Halloween. Like I love vintage Halloween decor and stuff. Like I hold a lot of nostalgia with Halloween with like my family, and like my grandma and I were super close, and that was like her holiday and everything. So like I think about those feelings that it gives me. And so like, I mean, you'll find me wearing like Halloween shirts all year long and stuff. So,
I love it. Yeah. Love it so much. Okay. And then what your Instagram is?
So at Laurel Ives. I hate it, but it was the only way that I could do it. So there is a politician named Laurel Ives, and I did not know that until after I submitted everything to get my
fake like marketing campaign.
Oh my god! So like I did all of my stuff for my business name and got it, and then I went to go like claim my Instagram handle essentially, and then it was like Laurel Ives is taken, you know, and I'm like, what the? Like, and it's she was like Twitter verified before you could buy it, you know, and everything, like a legit thing. And I was like, okay, well, what can I do here? So I have to have the period. So it's at Laurel period and full word period Ives.
So start typing Laurel and it'll pop up.
Yeah, or you could type my name, which is also spelled stupid though. Like if you start typing my name, so if you type in Chelsi with an I, like Chelsi, I usually pull up as well. So because there's not very many Chelsea's with an I. So
I feel like there is.
I know a couple. Like I know, or an IE, you know.
IE. Who's the teen mom Chelsi? Is she I?
I think she's IE.
I don't know.
I think she's IE. I'm pretty sure, because I remember being like, oh, because I think she was in the reign of Farrah. I think she was around the same time as Farrah. And Farrah's from my hometown. And and like I knew Farrah. Like I partied with her and stuff.
I was just gonna say, what are the?
Yeah, I knew her and her baby daddy and everything.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
What's her mom like?
I never really met her mom, but like I guess seems psycho. I mean, I just from like what I saw on the show, like when I say I partied with Farrah, that means we were in like a barn in the middle of Iowa. Like,
oh my gosh.
I never met her parents or anything, you know, and like even her and I didn't have like lasting conversations with each other. We were
just knew
drunk at the same party. Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
I ran into some guy at the bar who I used to work with, and he knows Chelsi, and we were drinking, and he's like, oh yeah, let me message her to see if I can get her on the podcast. And I was like, okay, actually do it.
Yeah, like I'm so here for
he's
that.
He's like, oh, she ghosted me. I'm like, yeah, sounds about right.
Seems accurate. Actually, that checks.
I always loved her and her relationship with her dad, though. I thought that was always so cute. Yeah. Okay, so tell me about when you had a brand, Laurelai Goods and Co.
Yeah, Laurelai Goods and Company is what it was. Yeah, which I spent so much time figuring out the name for that. Like I was like Laurelai Mercantile, like all these different things, because I really wanted it to represent what it actually was, and that was me not making the product. Like I did not want to be a part of the product, but I wanted to utilize my storefront, and I wanted to help other small business. At the end of the day, that's all I want to do is help small business owners. And so I was like, oh, you know what? We have so many great local business owners, and we have so many great local business owner shops. We have Made in Omaha and Local Makers Collective and like all these things. And I'm like, we need something to bring in businesses that aren't here. And so my whole thing with Laurelai Goods Co. was to curate just this really eclectic mix of goods and items from businesses all over the United States. And I was successful in that. When I would travel, I would go to these vendor markets, and I would meet different vendors. And I'd give them my business card and say, hey, I have a storefront in Omaha, Nebraska. Like Omaha loves local businesses, whether they're local here or local elsewhere. They just love small local business. I love your product. I'd love to have it in my store. And I did it at a consignment instead of a wholesale. And I had, for some reason, a ton of people from Utah, like a lot of Utah people, which was great. They all were just super talented. And then I did obviously have to have a few local businesses as well, because I had to have people who knew me, who trusted my brand to like kind of get started, because I was just kind of throwing this out there and being like to strangers that have never met me that I just followed on Instagram and was like, hey, I love your product. Can I sell it? You know, and like, can you pay me a monthly fee? And then, you know, like, and I did that. I just like slid into a lot of people's DMs and was like, hey, I love your product. I'm opening this storefront. You know, and I offered a discount for their first 3 months. And like, you know, it was like, if you're not getting profit from it, like I'm not going to hold you here, you know, like I get it. And I met some amazing business owners doing that. And like, I will rave about these business owners through and through. They are so talented and everything. And it's just, I wasn't making overhead essentially. And like my financial advisor was literally like, it is financially irresponsible for you to continue the storefront unless I charge more. And I was like, I can't do that, you know, and
didn't make sense at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And then doing markets, and like, I remember the first modern market that I did with Laurelai. You go, welcome back, because the wind was like all over.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And that the very first market, my tent got destroyed because of that wind. That wind was vicious. But I vividly remember you walking up to me and being like, welcome back. And I was like, thanks, Jill. Like, I appreciate it. As I'm like holding my tent down and trying to check
that's a whole nother business. Like, I'm like, that's a lot of time.
Yeah. And that was the other thing too, is I was putting my business, I was putting Laurel and Ives aside, because I felt almost more obligation to my the curate, the what's the word, consigners, you know, co-signers in there at consignment tees. I don't know.
Is it consignment or co-signment? People say both words, and I'm like, is there an N or not?
I think there's an N.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I typed an N every single time.
There is, but like there's another word that's co-signment, and I don't know what the difference is.
Well, anyway, I felt like a more obligation to make sure their product sold, almost more so than I did to make sure that like the reach was good on like my other clients' posts. And I was like, okay, if I'm putting my bread and butter aside to like do this, like something's got to give. Like I can't. And my whole goal with Laurelai was to be so successful in the first year that I could just hire an associate to like go do markets for me and to handle inventory and to do all that kind of stuff, to where I could just step aside and just have it, you know. And it just didn't work that way. And there is nothing wrong with a failed business, and I don't even see it as like a failed business. I tried. I did my best for what I could, and it just didn't work for me and my brand. And
you introduced Omaha to other brands from Utah.
Like I mean, all over. I had people from Nevada, Georgia, Minnesota, other places in Nebraska and Iowa, Illinois. I had people from literally all over there. Yeah. And even them introducing them to each other. Like the girl that makes these, so she's from Massachusetts.
Yeah, I need that.
I'm obsessed. I own, like, I've met her in like 2020, I think. It's Solana, and so I think it's just like at Solana Sew, SEW. SOLANA SEW.
Oh, okay.
Solana was her dog's name, so she's also got a business named after her dog. Yes. And her name's Zoe, and I think it was Alki with Copper Pine Co. that introduced me to her. And I fell in love with the product. And now, like, if anytime I have a coffee, I have a koozie on it. Like, every single time.
And I need that because this is annoying. It's
and I've still got ice in mine. And I have I drink less than you have, I think, because I've been talking more. But but that's also why I do the koozies, is because it holds the ice and it doesn't water it down. And like, here I'm just like advertising for Zoe. You're welcome. She has a new drop actually today. Actually, a summer drop went live today. Yeah. But
I'll go buy a koozie.
Yeah, for real. But they're literally the best. And so one of my local vendors that I had, Kayla Thor with Things by Thor, they like connected, and like, so now Kayla buys her koozies, you know? And so like, I still continued to grow their business, even if my business didn't pan out the way I wanted it to. Yeah.
And that's the goal. And that's on brand for you, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah, literally that's my only goal. And like, last year we know was just a rough year for small business in general, but especially for like boutique style businesses. Like, any product-based business just kind of really struggled last year. And economy, people just weren't buying, and like, you know, the price for wholesale went skyrocketed last year. And so then our prices had to up, you know, and it's just like, it just made it really hard. And I had actually 2 businesses that had products with me close their business in the time that they had their products with me. Yeah. And it almost was like, oh, I hate that for you. Like, I absolutely hate, but like almost like a breath of fresh air of like, I'm not failing, you know, like it's not working. Yes. It's just not working for some people. And I think that we have, as small business owners, such a hard time of like saying, I can't do this anymore. I have to let this go, because we feel like we don't want people to think we failed, or we don't want people to like sit and think like, oh, she couldn't keep it up, or, oh, I thought they were doing so well, you know, or something. Why are they closing? You know, that kind of stuff. And we get into like our own heads, I think, as small business owners, and being like, what are other people going to think of us? Like, what are they going to think of me if I announce that I'm closing my store? So you kind of, you like come up with excuses, or, you know. And so when I closed my store, I was just straight up like, my financial advisor said it's not responsible for me to continue. Like, there's nothing, and I put that out on my social media pages. You know, I was like,
love the transparency.
100%. Yes. And I was just like, why am I going to continue? And I put like, I got burnout. I wasn't, you know, like,
markets are no shit joke.
Oh my God. I
love them though, because I just have a truck, but
yeah. And it's like, you have people to do it for you and stuff too. Not everybody has like the luxury of being able to like hire staff to go out and do it. And so, and even then, when you do have somebody do it for you, it's still stressful, because like, you're thinking about them. How hot are they? How like, is the wind taking down their tent? Do they need my help? Like, you know,
is it busy? Is it slow?
Yes, exactly. And so there's so much that goes into having that type of business, which is also, again, why I do what I do. If I could take one thing off their plate, if that's social media management, if that's doing a rebrand, if that's creating a logo, or at least like doing a class or a workshop to where they can learn how to more efficiently use their time as a business owner, then I want to do that.
Love that so much. Well, let's end it there. That's a great note to end on. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for listening. Follow us. Thanks. Love you. Bye.